In the remote forests of Washington state, a young man tracks and kills a deer. Children of various ages, smeared with black soot, emerge from the forest accompanied by their father, Ben Cash, who announces,
"Today the boy is dead, and in his place is a man."
He then feeds the hunter the liver of the freshly killed animal. The children look proudly at their brother and then joyfully splash in the clear waters of a forest stream, washing off their camouflage. Later, they carry the animal's carcass to their home, nestled deep in the forest. Nearby, there's a greenhouse and outbuildings for storage, with a garden surrounding them. Inside, everything is tidy and organized, with each forest home resident diligently performing their tasks. Later, they gather in a clearing where, after meditation, the father teaches the children self-defense techniques.
You kill her.
Yeah, thank you. Let's try that.
In the evening, the family gathers around a campfire where the children read world classics and scientific literature. The father questions each child about the material, helping them understand everything from advanced mathematics to literary styles, and gives them assignments for the next day. Then he takes out a guitar. Everyone brings their instrument, and soon an improvised melody plays by the campfire, under which the children dance. In the morning, the family goes for their mandatory run along forest trails. Everything seems to follow a well-established routine. Later, the father and his eldest son, Bo, return from a trip to the nearest town for supplies. Unexpectedly, the younger children ask,
"Why does Mommy have to be gone so long?"
She hasn't been gone very long.
It turns out their mother is in a hospital, and the father is going to find out when she can return home. In town, while Ben shops, local girls flirt with Bo. However, he doesn't know what to talk about with them, as his knowledge of political structures doesn't interest them much. So Bo goes to get the mail and finds several letters addressed to him, inviting him to the country's best universities. Meanwhile, Ben reaches his sister, who informs him that his wife Leslie has taken her own life. Returning home, he sits under a forest waterfall for a long time before coming out to the children to announce the tragic news.
Last night, Mommy killed herself.
While everyone weeps, Ben's middle son, Relian, grabs a knife and tries to attack his father, but then directs his blows at a tree, venting his anger. Later, Ben reads his wife's found will, amazed by it. But morning comes, and the family again runs along the forest trail and exercises in the clearing. Suddenly, Relian asks,
"Dad, when's Mom's funeral?"
Ben returns to town and contacts his wife's parents, who blame everything on their former son-in-law, even though they chose this life together. When Leslie got sick, her parents found and paid for the clinic, but nothing helped.
I found her will.
You are not welcome here. I will have you arrested.
However, Leslie's mother informs him that the burial will take place in 5 days. Later, the family discusses what happened. The children understand their grandparents' anger, but cannot allow their mother's will to be disregarded. However, the threat of their father being arrested and them being sent to an orphanage scares them. At night, Ben hears his wife's voice.
What we're doing out here is so incredible. I love you so much.
In the morning, Ben finds all 6 children ready in the yard, wanting to see their mother one last time. He strongly opposes the trip, but the children insist.
Dad, give us the mission.
Mission, rescue Mom!
But Ben reminds them of the upcoming training. Struggling, Relian falls off the cliff and injures his arm, but the father reminds him,
No one will magically appear and save you in the end.
The children persistently conquer the difficult peak as it starts to rain. Later, they rest at the base of the cliff. On the way home, the father suddenly stops the bus and admits that they cannot go to their mother's funeral because they cannot argue with her relatives. But suddenly, Ben stops his speech and turns on the music. They set off into the big world in their converted bus. Along the way, Ben gives the children a unique tour, showing them America's sights.
Attention all campers, this is your captain speaking.
Later, Ben orders them to search for any game for dinner.
Everyone keep their eyes peeled for deer.
Finding nothing suitable, the family stops for the night. In the morning, they arrive at a bank, and while Ben withdraws money, the children look around in surprise.
What's wrong with everyone?
Are they sick?
Convincing the children that laughing at people is wrong, Ben tells them to return to the bus. Soon, a police officer stops them and asks for documents. Checking the license, he inquires,
"No school today."
and goes to inspect the bus. The situation is saved by Bo, who starts reading religious texts and says they are homeschooled. The children sing hymns and the officer hurries away. The bus continues on, but soon they stop to hunt for food. However, the children cannot shoot at domestic animals. The bus drives on. Suddenly, the children start crying, remembering their mother. The girls speak to each other in Esperanto, which angers their father.
No Esperanto. I'm not joking.
The children start communicating in world languages. Soon, Ben has to stop at a cafe, but the menu confuses him.
Cola.
Poison water.
Realizing there is no proper food here, Ben orders the children to leave. He goes to a supermarket and fills the cart with groceries. Suddenly, he grabs his chest and falls to the floor. While concerned shoppers try to help him, the children steal the groceries. Ben regains consciousness and leaves the store. Driving a bit further, the father reviews their actions, and the children analyze the mistakes made during the theft in detail. Finally, Ben presents a stolen cake, as today is the birthday of scientist Chomsky.
Uncle, no, it's the day of your birth.
After the treat, the father gives all the children useful gifts: a bow, knives, a book on sex education, and arrows. But this angers Relian.
Why can't we celebrate Christmas like the rest of the entire world?
The father doesn't understand why a mythical elf is more useful than a thinker and humanist. He offers his son to share his thoughts and convince him of the correctness of his reasoning. But the boy leaves. The family moves on. Soon they reach Ben's sister Harper's house. The woman is happy to see all her nephews, but their questions surprise her.
How did you kill those chickens? With an axe or a knife?
She tries to find answers and is again astonished that Ben honestly and thoroughly explains even very delicate matters to the children. Harper's husband tries to offer condolences, but Ben calmly reminds him that he couldn't stand his wife. Then he straightforwardly explains the cause of his wife's death. His sister and her husband try to end the conversation. Children shouldn't know the details, but Ben tells the children the real cause of their mother's death.
Probably a form of postpartum psychosis.
Ignoring his sister, who left the table, he pours wine for the children.
Thank you.
Later, the children watch with curiosity as their cousins play video games. Ben argues with his sister, who cannot accept such democracy in parenting.
I tell the truth to my kids. I don't lie to my kids.
Protecting children.
But Harper believes that not sharing what children cannot understand isn't a lie. Her husband suggests postponing the conversation until morning, and Ben apologizes. Meanwhile, the children take their sleeping bags and set up for the night in the yard, despite having rooms prepared for them. In the morning, everyone gathers at the table, and Ben allows the children to play video games with their cousins. When the children leave, his sister and her husband try to reason with
Kids
Ben.
need structure. They need to go to a real school.
Then Ben calls his nephews and asks them questions about political science and history. The boys can't answer a single question. However, Ben's youngest daughter freely discusses these topics. Relatives are impressed by such knowledge and no longer object to Ben's way of educating his children. The family moves on. They soon stop to rest at a campground where Bo meets a girl. She is surprised by his unusual name, and he explains that his parents made it up.
I'm Claire.
Bodovan. Our names are unique. There's only one of us in the whole world.
In the evening, they continue their acquaintance. The girl is surprised that Bo doesn't know modern pop music, but loves Bach and cello suites. He lies that they recently lived in Paris and is amazed at her ignorance. He avoids questions about his mother, and after kissing the girl for the first time, declares his intention to marry her to her mother.
I am ready for you, if you will have me. Will you be my wife?
The mother leads the girl back to the trailer. In the morning, the bus pulls out of the parking lot and Bo waves to the girl and her mother. That day, they reach the church where Leslie's farewell ceremony is held. Relatives and friends mourn the woman when a group in bright clothes enters the church, stunning everyone. The preacher tells about Leslie, and when he mentions her husband, Ben takes the floor and reads his wife's will.
First of all, Leslie practiced Buddhism. If nothing else, she had a sense of humor. Leslie's last will and testament.
Finally, she asks to have her ashes flushed down the nearest toilet. Enraged, Leslie's father, Jack, orders Ben to be thrown out of the church. The children run after him, while the preacher continues his sermon. Soon, Leslie's coffin is carried outside. Grandma and Grandpa hug the grandchildren, some of whom they see for the first time. Nevertheless, Jack forbids Ben to go to the cemetery, threatening arrest. Ben orders the children to get in the bus and follows the procession, though the children beg him to stop.
No, I don't want to lose you!
Hearing the last argument, Ben stops the bus. They drive to the suburbs and stop for the night. The man opens a bottle of wine and drinks it, sitting by the bus while his sons go to a sports field and remember their mother. Unexpectedly, Relian declares,
Mom had psychotic episodes. Dad made her crazy. Dad's dangerous.
Upset, Bo returns to Ben and shows him letters from all the universities in America, offering to accept him for study. Suddenly, the father accuses him of lying and secrecy, and Bo confesses.
It was Mom. I just want to go to college.
Ben is stunned, knowing his son speaks 6 languages, advanced mathematics, and physics. What else can he be taught? But the son becomes furious.
I don't know anything about anything!
Later, he receives a note from his youngest son, who ran away to live with his grandparents. Seeing his father come for him, Relian accuses him of killing his mother.
You killed Mom! I heard you fighting about where we live. Mom wanted to leave.
Ben tries to prove to his son that they made the decision together with Leslie, but the boy is determined to stay with his grandparents. Ben orders him to pack, but the boy shouts insults and runs away. Ben follows, but an arrow lands right next to him. This is Jack stopping his son-in-law.
They're going to be totally unprepared for the real world.
Jack intends to file for custody of the children. Ben refuses to leave without his son, and then Jack calls the police. Ben has to leave. Later, he and the children hide in the dark, watching the grandfather's house. Then they send Vesper to rescue the captive. Unexpectedly, the daughter falls from the roof and crashes. A shocked Ben can't believe it happened. The girl is taken to the hospital. A vertebra is fractured. The doctor is very impressed by her physical condition, but the girl was very lucky. In the morning, Ben brings the children to Leslie's parents' house. He watches them interact with their grandfather. Her mother shows the last letters from her daughter.
We created a paradise out of Plato's Republic. I'm going to get better out here. I know I will.
Later, Ben tells the children they will stay here, but this causes outrage because this house is the opposite of everything he taught them. However, the father, frightened by Vesper's injury, realizes that his entire life was a beautiful mistake.
It was too much. And I knew it. I'll ruin your lives.
Ben unloads the children's belongings from the bus and says goodbye to Jack. He promises to arrange the children's lives in the best way. The man drives away. Sitting behind the wheel, he cries, looking at the empty cabin. Reaching a gas station restroom, he shaves off his long-standing beard. At night, he stops by the roadside, lights a campfire, and suddenly hears a voice.
Shaved your face.
And his children emerge from the bus, having hidden in the luggage compartment. The children want to save their mother and complete the mission, and the father gives in. The family goes to the cemetery and digs up Leslie's coffin, restoring the grave so no one notices the theft. Later, Bo shaves his hair and beard, earning his father's approving smile. Soon the family takes Leslie's coffin to the seaside, where the children build a funeral pyre for her, and after saying their goodbyes, light it under their mother's favorite song. Everyone sings and dances, fulfilling her last wish. Sometime later, they go to the airport to see off Bo, who is flying to Namibia for volunteer work, and also flush their mother's ashes down the toilet according to her will. The father gives his son final advice.
Always tell the truth. Always take the high road. Don't die.
I won't.
Later, the family settles on a farm, raising chickens in their bus. Ben tends to the farm and the children start going to school. The film ends here.